When we talk about sensors of any type, there are many different types that are available. But in HVAC and residential type work, the most common that we come across is the non-adjustable type sensor as pictured on the right side of the screen. Outside air or temperature sensors are used on a lot of thermostats to show the outside air temperature. This is a feature that a lot of homeowners like. And many heat pumps have outdoor air sensors already installed on the heat pump. The defrost cycle on a heat pump is another reason why heat pumps have an outdoor air sensor. The defrost cycle is largely dependent upon outside ambient temperature. And usually the cycle is either lengthened or shortened depending on what the outside air temperature is versus the coil temperature. Also, defrost range is usually 35 degrees to 45 degrees. Once we move below 35 degrees, there is much less moisture in the air, and so frost will not form on the coil. And once we move above 45 degrees outside air temperature, it's getting too warm for ice to form on the coil. So the outdoor air sensor comes into play in the defrost mode of a heat pump. Another reason an outdoor air sensor is necessary on a heat pump is for balance point and staging heat strips. Once the balance point is reached where the heat pump can no longer by itself maintain the load in the space, the balance point as sensed by the outdoor air sensor will either lock out the heat pump and bring on supplemental heat, or will stage in supplemental heat to back up the heat pump to maintain the space temperature. Sensors operate on a temperature resistance basis. For example, a 10K resistor means that at 77 degrees, if you ohm out this sensor, it will read 10,000 ohms. 10K resistors are the most common used for defrost and outside air temperature. But also on heat pumps and air conditioners, we use a 50K ohm resistor for discharge compressor temperature reading. So in this case, with a 50K resistance thermistor at 77 degrees, it will read 50,000 ohms. There are many different thermistors available in the market. Most of your thermistors on equipment is specified for that particular piece of equipment, but depending on your application and what you're trying to do, there are a lot of different types of thermistors that are available. Another thing that you want to be aware of when working with thermistors is the difference between a PTC and an Ntc thermistor. A PTC, or a positive temperature coefficient thermistor, works as temperature increases, the resistance of the thermistor decreases. Whereas with a Ntc, or a negative temperature coefficient thermistor, as the temperature decreases, the resistance increases. So depending on what your application is, you may need a PTC thermistor or an Ntc thermistor. Another thing to be aware of is the location of the outdoor air sensor. As we've stated before, many heat pump manufacturers already install an outdoor air sensor on their equipment. But if that's not the situation in your case and you need to install an outdoor air sensor, you want to make sure that you are aware of where you locate that sensor. You definitely do not want to put it in direct sunlight, and you don't want to put it where there will be any radiant heat. You want to locate it in a place where it's going to be sensing the true outdoor air temperature.
Go to arefco.com for more videos, like, subscribe, and check back every week for new videos.